The fifth messenger sounds, and a star falls from heaven to earth. This is the beginning of the nuclear war. The bottomless pit is opened and locusts come out from the earth. Revelation chapter 9 verses 1. And the fifth cherubim of destruction of the seventh Anunnaki, Elohim blew his trumpet signaling the beginning of the fifth plague. And I, John, saw an atomic bomb which I, John, interpreted as a light-like meteorite, a star from the Orion skies, a six-star constellation, upon the planet Earth. And it was given the key of the bottomless pit, being able to open the earth. When the bomb exploded in the earth, it threw off blasts of power appearing like fire and brimstone, because people believed that hell was in the earth. That's how it was recorded by John. Revelation chapter 9 verses 2. So the atomic bomb that was first introduced by the malevolent beings into the New Babylon, America, in 1945 AD, Russia in 1949 AD, Great Britain in 1951 AD, and finally France. One of the heads of the beast in 1960 AD that opened the bottomless pit, making a hole in the planet Earth all the way to the center, and out of the pit ascended like a dust cloud. A mushroom smoke from the bomb that can reach as high as 32,000 feet high, just like the dust cloud of a great furnace, and the sun was darkened by the smoke and the air was dense with smoke because of the dust cloud of the pit. The smoke or dust that rose from the pit that blackened the skies was a result of the 1,000 exploded oil wells set in the Middle East by Saddam Hussein's, president of Iraq, military forces on March 2, 1991 AD. And continued to burn up until October 1991 AD. As a result, the clouds were covered with an oil-like substance that caused many people to have respiratory problems, like oil pneumonia, where the oil smothers the tiny air sacs in the lungs. And the air was dense with the smoke of the oil wells of the Arab world and the fallout from the bomb's dust. Revelation chapter 9 verses 3. There come out of the smoke of the pit, aircrafts, planes that was interpreted by John, to look like locusts to land upon the planet Earth. The same maneuver of locusts who fly in formation and were given authority to kill, just like the scorpions has power or authority in its tail to cause death. With the F-117A stealth fighter plane that also has a sting in its tail in the form of biological and germ warfare to spread upon the planet Earth. The evil one display his vast infantry and aircrafts, flankers, and various other ballistics in a war that involves all nations of the earth. World War III. Revelation chapter 9 verses 4. And they were commanded that they should not hurt the grass of the planet Earth, nor any other thing which is green. Neither all the trees, but only hurt the nation of Adamites who do not have Yahweh of the Elohim's mark in their forehead. Revelation chapter 9 verses 5. And the military of the beast was commanded that they should not kill the righteous. All the plagues that the Creator will send on the earth will not affect the 144,000, nor will they suffer the effects of radiation, poverty, sickness, because they bore witness to the truth. However, they could torment them by way of germ warfare for 5 months. Its torture will be slow, painful, and paralyzing. And their pain was as the pain as if a human being is stung by the scorpion. Revelation chapter 9 verses 6. And in those days the children of Adam will seek out death, but will not find it, and they will desire death, and death will flee away from them. Revelation chapter 9 verses 7. And the resemblance of those locusts, the military planes of the evil one's army, resemble horses prepared for battle flying in formation. They also were representing the 4 horsemen. Who are the 4 empires? Babylon, Greek, Roman, European, American, symbolized by intellectual creatures, the lion, the bull, human being, and the eagle. And upon every one of their heads were crowns which resembled gold, but was actually the sun's light shining off the plane's metal bodies. And their faces were like the resemblance of the faces of the nation of people, because they have drawn on these fighter aircrafts. Revelation chapter 9 verses 8. And their hair was like the hair of women, because of the speedy movement of the plane's propellers created an illusion that appeared as hair of John. And their teeth as the teeth of a lion, was that which was drawn on these fighter planes. These are the aircrafts used during World War II, 1939 to 1945 AD, that were known as the Flying Tigers and the A-10 Thunderbolts. Revelation chapter 9 verses 9. And they had metal breastplates as the breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like that of the sound of chariots, and many horses, which is nothing more than the engines of planes running for battle, ready for war. Revelation chapter 9 verses 10. And they had tails which resembled the scorpions, and the stings was in their tails. The sting of the scorpion sends its victims into a state of shock. This is what happened to the people when they saw these bombs and missiles that the planes emitted from the tail section, located at an opening on the bottom of the plane. And authority was given to them to torment the people for 5 months, because the effect of these bombs will last for a period of 150 days. The evil one takes place as the king over the bottomless pit, Hades, and commands his army of disagreeable messengers into combat. The 4 messengers are let loose on earth to destroy man. Revelation chapter 9 verses 11. And a ruler, Azazel, was over them, who is the disagreeable messenger, who is of the bottomless pit, which is named in the Hebrew language Abaddon, that is a place of destruction, where the father of ruin is, and in the Greek language it is called Apollyon, destroyer. Both names being symbolic of the nature of the evil one and are typical of the nations within his domain. Revelation chapter 9 verses 12. 1 more plague is past, and behold 2 more plagues, outbreaks of war, will come after this. From 1990 AD, this first plague of war was between the United States, Israel, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and many others. After that was the beginning of the end of the world. There will be 2 more big outbreaks of war heading up to the year 1996 AD. Revelation chapter 9 vs 13. And the 6th messenger, the cherubim of destruction, blew this trumpet, signaling the beginning of the 6th plague. And I heard one of the voices of the 4 horns of gold, being the 4 living creatures, were represented by the 4 world empires, which is before the altar of the Most High. Revelation chapter 9 verses 14. Saying to the 6th Elohim, a cherubim of destruction who had the trumpet, loose the 4 Elohim arch-messengers, Raphael, Uriel, Uzziel, and Israel, which abound in the great river Euphrates. Revelation chapter 9 verses 15. And so he loosed the 4 crafts, which were prepared for the hour in the appointed and month and year, so that they can kill 1/3 of the nation of Adamites. Revelation chapter 9 verses 16. And when added up, those who were mounted on horses was 200 million foot soldiers and tanks, and I, John, heard the number of them. These are the soldiers of the Edomite army ready to kill. The horses symbolically represented the armored vehicles, tanks, valuable for their firepower and ability to move over most kinds of ground. Revelation chapter 9 verses 17. And this is what I, John, saw the horses in a vision, and the riders on them had breastplates of fire, blue sapphire, and yellow sulfur. And the heads of the horses were like the heads of lions, and fire and smoke and sulfur came out of their mouths. Revelation chapter 9 verses 18. And from these 3 empires which will wage the last war, the United States with Russia, Gog and Magog, Amorites, Jebusites, the Arabs, king of the earth, Middle East, and China, the dragon, Edomites. 1/3 of those struck on nation of people were killed by the fire and the smoke at sulfur which came out of their mouths. Revelation chapter 9 verses 19. Because the power of those horses was in their mouths and in their tails, because their tails resembled serpents, and it had heads, and with these did hurt. Although the host inflicted man with numerous wraths for his evil ways, he still does not repent. Revelation chapter 9 verses 20. And as for the rest of the nation of people who were not killed by these plagues, and still did not repent from the disagreeable works of their hands, that they should not prostrate to the physical evil one, reptilian, and idols of gold and silver, and brass, and stone and wood, which neither can see and can't hear nor even walk. Revelation chapter 9 verses 21. Nor did the physical devils repent of their murders, and not even from their works of magical arts, and not from their fornication that takes place in the lustful society of America, New Babylon, and not from their theft. Thanks for watching.